major twist in the case involving a teenage girl's body found in the car belonging to the singer David. Sources telling us that David is now considered a suspect in the death of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas. No arrest has been made, but we're told David is not cooperating. Comes 2 months after Rivas's body was found badly decomposed in a car registered to the singer-songwriter. Now sources tell us her body was in fact dismembered, though the medical examiner has still not determined a cause of death. We want to note that we reached out to David's team, but we haven't heard back. Let's bring in our Alex Stone. He's on the story for us. What more do we know about David being considered a suspect now?
Well, Kara, investigators tell us that they are focusing in now and tightening in on certain individuals involved, and that nobody in the group around David is being excluded as a suspect. I had one investigator telling me that it is a fact that there are certain people in the group around him who were involved, who are getting concerned now as the LAPD is getting closer. So we know the investigation, Kara, it is advancing. It's been ongoing for 2 months now. They say they have been working diligently through it, trying to put pieces together, but her body was dismembered. And that has played a role in how slowly this has gone, as the medical examiner is still trying to determine a cause of death. But they say that they're working toward it right now.
So what's the timeline on next steps? Will there be an arrest in the case immediately, you think?
Immediately, probably not. We are told that they are actively working it right now, that they are moving forward with it. But it may not be right away. It could be days, it could be weeks, it could be months. They're really having to wait on that cause of death to come in from the medical examiner. Without that, it's going to be hard to charge murder. But they do believe, there is a belief among sources inside the investigation that this was murder and that David played a role in it in some way, either the murder or the dismemberment of the body and or concealing the body as well. So it does look like it's going down that road. Investigators are telling us that they believe they're heading that way, but when, they don't yet know.
All right, so let me share something, because I kept getting information saying that the body was frozen and all of this stuff. So I did a little bit of a deep dive in a little bit, and I dropped the link in the chat for anybody that got a comment on this. I'm going to give the people 2 minutes per call, 2 minutes per call for anybody that has an opinion on this whole David situation. But let me share this information with y'all. It says the body of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, found dead in David's Tesla, was not frozen or decapitated, says the cops. Okay. Goes on to say the body of a missing 14-year-old found in the truck of singer David Tesla in September was not frozen, nor was she decapitated, according to the police, as they look to debunk some of the rumors about the tragic teen's death. Celeste Rivas Hernandez remains were discovered in the car on September 8th, one day before her 15th birthday, and it was impounded in Hollywood Hills. Last week, it was reported that her remains were partially frozen and dismembered, leaving the LA County Medical Examiner struggling to determine her official cause of death, sources told TMZ. That's the David dude. That's the car. Goes on to say her body was not frozen. She was not decapitated. The whole frozen thing doesn't even make sense. Her body was in the car for weeks, says LAPD Captain and Commanding Officer, Robbery Homicide Division, Scott Williams told People. Even if she had been frozen solid when she was put in the car, which there was no evidence to suggest she was, 5 or more weeks in the trunk of a car in sweltering heat in the middle of the summer would not have resulted in a partially frozen body being discovered on September 8th. She was first reported missing from her home in Lake Elsinore, California on April 5th. Singer David, 20, whose real name David Anthony Burke, was on tour at the time of the discovery of the remains. All right. So I want to get y'all thoughts. If anybody has a comment or a thought on this whole David situation, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to get your stuff off. Give me a second. I'm going to give y'all 2 minutes to get y'all stuff off. If y'all have a comment about this whole David situation, do you think that he should be locked up? Do you think that they should have named him as a suspect earlier rather than later? What are your thoughts on the whole situation? Christopher Evans, what are your thoughts on the whole situation with David?
You see me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I've actually been following the story a little bit in between you talking about it, and from what I know, they just recently said through TMZ that he was flying to an undisclosed location, and I vaguely remember them saying that it was around that time. I think it was this spring. I think they said the girl was with her. I can't remember for sure, but he did fly out to this place before he went on tour. My 2 cents is, um, I think they were having an inappropriate relationship, probably hanging out. Um, they were probably doing some substances that they shouldn't have been doing. She potentially have overdosed on it because they've talked about her having a rebellious history, and I think they've also talked about her being on lives or being in videos on TikTok of being inebriated. And I think they even mentioned that during the video when she was arguing with her family, she was possibly intoxicated. So, she was probably doing drugs with David. One thing leads to another. She OD, dies. David freaks out. So now, with this underage girl that's dead, he was messing with, he grown, he got a tour coming up. So now he's looking at some people he can trust, like, hey, bro, I gotta do something about this. So now he got a friend to help chop up the body. Friend like, hey, bro, go on your little tour. I got this. And I feel like he got finessed. Whoever helped him do it, I think they took his money. He didn't pay him half and then half when it was done. He paid him all the money. They chopped the body up for him and they left the car out there on purpose.
Mm, mm.
On purpose.
That's, you know
And
what? I think that I'm not necessarily saying that you were awful. Everything that you said actually makes sense. Are you involved? No, I'm just messing with you. All right, Chris.
nah,
I
I'm
appreciate
halfway
you, bro.
across the country. It ain't me.
I appreciate you, bro. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, you too.
Eric, what up, Eric? What are your thoughts on this whole thing?
Bro, that happened super close to my hometown, like actually where I was living at.
Really?
Yeah, and the sad part is I was waiting at the bus stop like I am now. And her missing thing was on the bus stop. I didn't think nothing of it. I
Oh, the
was trying to
Celeste
get
Chicks
to
thing was on the bus stop.
was on the bus stop, like, oh, missing, yada, 14, yada yada. And like the same picture that they keep showing. The one with the hoodie and stuff. And then recently they start talking about the Dave and she happened in Lake Elsnore, and I'm like, damn, I used to go fishing with my grandmas at their lake and shit. And I'm like, damn. And then I see the picture of the person. I'm like, damn, I saw that one in poster, and I'm just like, well, this is small ass world, bruh.
Mm. I agree. I agree. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate you. I don't think that any of this is beyond what he said. Honestly, that makes the most sense to me. With this whole David situation, what he said makes the most sense to me. I will say this. At first, I was of the impression like, listen, they need to hurry up and arrest him and charge him and so on and so forth. But now I understand why they're choosing not to arrest him, but they've only named him as a suspect because they can't probably even prove that it was him or that he killed her, right? The best that they could probably do at this point is charge him with something as far as like, missing, not reporting a missing person, dealing with an underage chick, something like that. I think that my main outrage was really towards the parents, because the parents were the ones, in my opinion, that should have been responsible for the fact that she was talking to this David guy, and they didn't know that, they didn't know anything about him supposedly, or he was rolling with her, or all of this other stuff. They said that they didn't know who he was. I don't believe none of that. But I also am starting to question whether or not he should be the person that is charged with her murder. If they had something on him, they would have already charged him. If they had something on him, because we don't know what we don't know. And this is one of the reasons. Listen, let me look at this objectively. All right. Let me look at this objectively. This is why I say to people, shut up when something happens. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or do can be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you, and listen, I want every murderer and everybody to get caught that did something illegally, but I'm just having a conversation objectively. When you don't say anything, you basically put the police and investigators at the biggest disadvantage ever. The way that most people get caught is that they say too much or they talk to somebody that's been involved and then they get exposed. You said, you know, the body was found in his car, but it was found in his car while he was on tour. How do we know who had access to his vehicles? Listen, there's a difference between negligence, something like that, whatever charge that they can throw on you, and a murder and a homicide. Being a suspect does not mean that you are the person that committed the crime. Now, I'm not saying that he's innocent. And do I believe he has something involved with it? That is my opinion, but my opinion does not make it true and it does not make it a fact. Should he have been talking to a younger girl? Absolutely not. But like my man said, how do we know that she didn't OD? How do we know that she didn't take a drug and she OD'd, but he didn't want to be tied to it, so that he panicked, or he said he told somebody else to deal with the body or something like that? We don't know. Somebody said the Tesla cameras. If they had the cameras, then they would already have said something.